justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Sisson. Gerald. Dumal. Here. Huffman.
Here.
Hughes.
Here.
Kane. Fleming.
Here.
Ellenberger.
Here.
We have a quorum. Um, First of all, I'd like to report that Brianne and I had a conversation with representatives from DCEO this week. And they're very high on our new industrial park and are willing to begin promoting it and then helping any developers that show up after that success. So that is really good news, and we'll be following up with a luncheon meeting in the next few weeks. So we're real happy about that. I haven't heard from the county officially on the animal control situation. They have questions yet to answer, and they don't seem to be concerned with talking to us at this point. So we'll continue waiting and see where we can go from there. And last thing, I'd like to welcome a new resident, Mr. Sean Balint. I think you got moved in, didn't you, Sean? Good, thank you. Don't forget to register to vote.
Right there on the fringe of town, see some wiggle room on reputation.
There you go. Happy to have you. Okay, we'll move on to public participation. Mr. Howell.
Hey, I wanted to speak on the Clark Street extension project. But let me start with, I agree, we've got a shortage of quality, and I wrote this out so I get through it all in time. Affordable housing, and the city needs to address this problem. However, the project on the agenda tonight, I believe, is too aggressive and possibly reckless. The plan consists of developing 20 acres into a subdivision with 46 lots and the building of 12 housing units. The developer wants the city to pay for half of all the costs, including the purchase of the land, and then allow him to sell properties and keep all the profits with no return to the city. The money for the project has come out of Long-Term Economic Development Fund, which is used for capital projects, matching grant funds, providing funds for the creation of jobs, and repaying the loan on the industrial park, which is $536,278 annually. Taking $1,785,000 out of the fund, and then not transferring the $750,000 that's annually transferred into that fund from the general sales tax from 25 and 26 would ultimately bankrupt the fund and leave it with a deficit of $632,056 at the end of the 427 budget year, if the budget expenditures remain the same. Payback of the monies invested would come only from the property taxes, which would be $58,660 paid in 828 if the 6 houses are built, and $117,320 paid in 8 of 29 if the second 6 houses are built. So in 4 years, there's only going to be 5.5% of the invested money that would be paid back to the city. There are other options. Smith's offered to sell the property to the city, which could then be surplus, and a request for proposal from multiple developers obtained. Then profits from the sales of the properties would pay back the investment and possibly provide a surplus. This is what the city did with Eagle Ridge. We spent $1.6 million developing 70 acres into a 41 lot rural subdivision with 1.7 miles of roads and city water mains. In 4 years, we've recouped $1.1 million through the sales of the 6 lot leases. 3 $1 million homes have been built, and 2 more are slated to be started this spring. When all of the lot leases have been sold, we hope to have over $2 million in surplus to use to sustain the lake. In the spring of 2024, I, along with Brianne and Tanya Flannery, met with Bob Plummer to discuss him developing the acreage he owns to the east of Prairie Estates into 20 lots. He proposed developing this if the city would front him $500,000 to help with development costs. He was refused. The current project is being fronted $812,000. Bob then offered to sell the property to the city.
Okay,
Go. Time?
Yeah.
And I guess I didn't read fast enough.
Maybe you finish up.
What's that?
If you could finish up, please.
Just finish
Go
up.
ahead.
Just go ahead and finish, okay. He offered to, sell the property to the city so they could develop it. So there are alternatives the city could pursue that would be more economical, feasible. Haste makes waste. I would recommend sending tonight's proposal back to the Economic Development Committee to let them do further review. I did check all the figures that I have passed out to you with the, city budget officer and the county tax assessor, and I believe all my figures are correct. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next I've got appointments to the Tourism Advisory Board. Matt Vaughn to fill the unexpired term of Jean Bruner Giacchino. And that term expires in May of this year, and this will be for a 3-year term to continue. Carol Sneed to fill the unexpired term of Angie Elizondo, which expires in May 25, same situation. And this term would go to 2028. Can I have a motion to accept it? Alderman Garrell, second by Ray, and any discussion? This committee is very fluid, it changes a lot, so anybody that's volunteering will need to encourage, put it that way. Stacy's pretty hard to work with, I understand.
I'm a rough one, I really am.
No discussion? Roll call, please.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zumwalt. Aye. Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Kane. Lemming.
Aye.
Ellenberger.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. Under other business, I'd like a motion to accept the minutes from the January 16th, 2025 meeting. Alderman Garrell. Alderwoman Hoffman, seconds. Any changes? Roll call, please.
Ellenberger.
Aye.
Lemming.
Aye.
Kane. Hughes.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Zumwalt. Aye. Gerald.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. I would like a motion to approve the expenditure report and payroll report for the current period.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Alderman Hughes. Second by Alderwoman Payne.
That was me. Alderman Fleming.
Oh, sorry. Got that correction? Very good. Roll call, please.
Gerald. Zumwalt. Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Kane. Lemming.
Aye.
Ellenberger.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. Alderman Kellenberger, take a deep breath. You got a long day.
Make a motion to approve an ordinance annexing Smith Estate subdivision into corporate limits.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Alderman Fleming, seconds. Any discussion?
If I may, items 1 through 5 run together, so I don't know if it would be best maybe to have one general discussion now so that votes match all throughout. Mayor, would that make sense to?
Makes sense.
Okay, first I would like to start by welcoming Matt Fund with Jack Matthews Development. He's going to give a brief introduction, regarding the project, and then I can address some of the financial background on it.
Thank you, Grant. Happy to be here tonight, thanks for having us. We are very excited about this development, and I would agree with the gentleman that spoke earlier, it is very aggressive. I think that we figured out, solved a lot of the problems in this latest plan, and I brought this, I don't know if there's a better place to put it where everybody can see it, but we can certainly spin it around too as we go through conversations tonight. It's 3 components in one subdivision, really. The centerpiece is townhomes. There are 3-unit buildings, 36 townhomes in the center of the development, surrounded by single-family lots. And there's a mix in sizes of single-family houses. We got a lot of feedback in the Economic Development Committee that there are a number of needs in Litchfield, so we tried to address all that. The subdivision will be called Wildflower. I can tell you I didn't have a whole lot to do with that. There's our marketing people did most of it. I got Thistle Drive, I think that shows you my personality, but, so anyways, I'm happy to answer any questions, that you guys have on this tonight.
I had a real quick question
Yep.
for you. So you talked last time, and I wanted to kind of reiterate this. So last time you had mentioned, someone had asked you if you were going to do your best in terms of buying your equipment and things locally. Is that correct, that you had mentioned last time that you would do your best to stay local when possible?
Absolutely. You know, the Plummer family and are close friends of ours, and we do business with RP Lumber. RP Lumber is here already. We work with Ready Mix Concrete. Ready Mix Concrete's here already. We've already reached out to a number of subcontractors that we don't typically deal with to just kind of do a little outreach and get to know them. We're happy to entertain more people. You know, we're still a year away from coming out of the ground. We're probably 6 or 7 months away from infrastructure work, but anybody that has the ability and capacity that's local, we would prefer to hire local. We also have employees that live in this area too, so,
Matt, would you
Absolutely.
review, for the council, your total investment for, the development agreement requires 12 residential units in total. The investment that overall, including building those homes that you would hit at that time, as well as your total overall investment regarding home building?
numbers I don't have in front of me specifically, but that's the aggressive piece really, is
Yeah.
you know, 46 lots is a lot for Litchfield, right? So you get 46 lots developed in these streets and all the infrastructure put in place. That carrying cost is there, and we committed to, 2 separate tranches of 6, so 12, you know, they kind of hit this velocity and get the speed, the momentum of the property subdivision going. So the first 6 units would come online, and then the following 6 units. Now, hopefully it stabilizes, and absorbs into Litchfield quicker than that, but that's the big unknown and the big risk.
So these first 12 units will be built on spec, correct?
I think that probably all 12 will be built on spec, yes.
Okay, the triplexes, how will those be marketed? Separately or?
So we, you know, because it's a year away, we need to keep a little bit flexible in what the market dictates, right? So I think that the first, and if I come back around here, I think, you know, as we decide to do, well, we'll do one of these, you know, whether it's one of these groupings of 2 lots, so we'll do 6 at one time. And these are set up to where they can be in their own separate HOA or all together in an HOA. They can be owned individually, they can be leased. So I think we're gonna try to remain flexible in the market and see what happens, where the demand comes from.
When we had, initially been discussing construction costs, the thought was if you're putting, you know, 250,000 into the single family homes, around 200,000 into each unit, you're spending an additional roughly 15-16 million on construction for those homes. TIF does not allow you to incentivize new construction. That's why we went so heavy on the infrastructure piece. We can't legally incentivize new construction with TIF. We don't feel that it would be the best use of general funds to be incentivizing new construction. We have a lot of needs that are met with general fund dollars. That's why we're going so heavy on this infrastructure piece, and it really has been the city philosophy for years to focus on infrastructure needs rather than new construction needs. So that's the rationale for taking this route. As far as the long-term economic development fund goes, for the past few years, about 750,000 has been put in. That number has fluctuated over the years. We will not be having the expenditures we've had over the last few years. We've been very heavy on Eagle Ridge, and then we transferred directly into the industrial park. Phase 1 is winding down, so we don't plan to have all of those expenditures on the industrial park. We do receive more than the 750,000 in capital sales tax that would be eligible to pay off the west side bond, so we could always put more in if needed, but we're not seeing cash flow issues in regard to the capital sales tax.
And Brianna, I think I asked this at the public hearing a while back, but the EDC, we presented this to them and they voted, was it unanimous to approve this?
Everyone who was at the meeting, yes.
You know, ironically, they voted unanimously for a soccer park that never happened too. All well and good. Thank you. Any other questions
I have
for
a
me?
question. Your initial investment, your company, in comparison to what the city has to put up, what are we talking about?
50%. Just on the infrastructure piece.
Okay, what about the rest of it?
That's all us.
That's all on you.
That's where the risk is in this whole thing. You know, building materials, we just got another round of, letters this week. The shingles are up 20%, drywall's up 20%, concrete's up 10%. Lumber continues to spike, so I think that the teeth that Brianne and Michael held us over the light bulb with there is, you know, we're at risk to build 12 units regardless of what the market does.
So your infrastructure, estimate is $6.5 million basically, and you're asking for 3.2 something. And the other balance of the $15 million project is on you.
That's right.
And that was based on original numbers. I don't know exactly what you're planning
Yeah,
on
I didn't
putting
bring
into
that
the
with-
unit, but
You know, and again, you know, we asked the
Probably
question
some
about local
discussion.
vendors, we're also open to local builders. If somebody wanted to build and on a specific lot, we don't have to build every home in the subdivision, so that's open to the local builder.
There were some suggestions, from the EDC, on some changes. Did you make any of those changes?
We did, actually, the biggest change was, to make this private court off to the, west side here that has larger lots that are, so, you know, I think the initial need or the initial problem we were trying to solve was mid-market, price range homes, so we have that in the single family, in lots 1 through 23, and then really the 7 lot cul-de-sac and the other 3 lots are a little bit larger for, a different style of home. And that feedback came from the EDC.
Robin, you have a question?
Yes, I do, thank you. You mentioned HOA, how would that be determined? Who would determine whether it would be an HOA?
I think that we're gonna have to figure that out in the next 6 months. There's probably gonna be a, you know, the covenants and restrictions for this subdivision are gonna have 3 components. They're gonna have a CNR for the larger lots, you're gonna have a CNR for the smaller single-family homes, and you're gonna have CNRs for the townhomes. So it's almost like 3 subdivisions in one. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but.
No, not really. Well, I mean, I'm just, you know, that's a new thing for this HOA, correct?
so, yeah, so the way an HOA works customarily is, it doesn't have anything to do with the city. Most subdivisions do have covenants and restrictions. It's up to the developer at the time of development, whether they would want to install an HOA to enforce those covenants and restrictions. Matt, I don't
Usually a pretty
know if you.
hefty fee that goes with that on an annual basis too, correct?
Well, it depends. So like the single-family homes, no. The single-family homes would just be,
Regular
you know,
covenants and
yeah,
restrictions.
maybe a monument sign or whatever, a detention basin that's being maintained. That would be shared by all 46 lots. Where the HOA really comes into play is if we say the townhomes are for lease and, or you purchase a townhome shell of a building and everything on the exterior is maintained. We have some setups like that in Edwardsville, where the grass is maintained and the snow removal and everything else, so then your HOA would pay for that. It just depends on what the market, and the way we have it set up, we can have a condo HOA on 12, or on 6 units. We don't have to do it on the whole thing. We could sell some that are fully owner occupied. We can have some that are set up as a little mini condo association.
We do have HOAs out in the, senior development that's next to the cemetery. And they pay, I think theirs is up to $150 a month, but their HOA covers exterior, it covers the roof, it covers snow removal, leaf removal. And when you have homes like that that have shared roof lines, it's difficult to not have an HOA, because if there's damage to the roof, do you replace half the roof? Like, what do you do? So even though you are paying money every month, there are big expenditures that you wouldn't have to pay for, like a roof or new siding or.
And I'd like to know too, maybe, Mike, you can answer, what is the time limit on a covenant? Does it expire at some point normally, or is it perpetual?
Runs with the
So
land.
the
I
development-
believe it's 10 years by the developer.
Well,
And they
10
have to
years.
set up their own organization.
I don't
If I remember
think legally
right.
there's a time
There's not,
restriction
there's not a
on
legal
it.
time limit, usually it's, you get to 70% and then the homeowners take over from the developer, it's just a matter of when that
Yeah,
handoff takes
I
place.
know we have areas with covenants that aren't, we have rules that are not being followed, that's the way it is.
Well, and if covenants are put into place, the nice thing is that the other homeowners in the subdivision have a private right of action against the other homeowner that isn't following covenants, excuse me. So it's really not even a city issue. This is something to be determined by the people that choose to live out there. When they buy the land, covenants come with the land, so everybody knows exactly what it is that they're buying, what the rules are, and what they have to follow. It's really pretty brilliant, it protects everyone's investment who buys out there. And the fact that you're splitting this between, I would say, shared properties and having, potential for an HOA there to protect everybody there versus having a separate sort of an arrangement for those that have, sort of your traditional single-family homes. I've never seen it done that way, but that's really smart.
I think that we wouldn't be able to develop a 46 lot subdivision in Litchfield unless we broke it into smaller
Yeah.
chunks like this. We're gonna spend more on legal fees, setting up all these declarations, but
The problem with the covenants is that realtors, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cassie, you don't pass along the covenants for sell property, or do you?
absolutely.
Well, election time's coming, and there's a covenant in Crestwood Estates, no political sign, so be aware. Be aware.
That's enforceable.
Okay, any other questions for Matt?
And Mike, this is just kind of a side one, put you on the spot a little bit. Earlier, we talked about Eagle Ridge and the city developed that. For the city to develop something like this, we talked about it, there's some laws and certain things that we'd have to do to prove that other people wouldn't come in to develop the property for us to develop it, correct? That was my understanding.
There's a lot to that question, as far as developing, a city developing a residential subdivision. There are so many.
We determined a long time ago, we didn't wanna get into the real estate business, but we
Yeah.
could have purchased it and then put it out, surplus for any number of developers to deal with. But, and that's basically what we do with Eagle Ridge. Of course, the city still owns that property because it's on the lake, and we want the security of,
Basically, it's not possible unless we go through a lot of due diligence, essentially, is that?
I don't even wanna think about what we'd have to do to develop a residential subdivision, honestly. And I think Eagle Ridge is, I don't wanna say apples and oranges, but you're talking about city-owned property on our lake that's leased. Totally different situation than what we're looking at here. I don't know that those are fair comparisons, honestly.
I have a question. The $465,000 for the purchase of the property is that just the 20 acres?
It is,
So that doesn't count the property across that's
it
still?
does not, no, it's just the 20 acres south of Clark.
Thank you.
okay, any other questions? All right, we'll move on and we'll handle all the, items pertaining. Matt, would you turn that around for the press and the, audience there so they can see what you've been talking about? Thank you. Okay, for item number 1, we do have a motion to approve an ordinance, annexing Schmidt Estate subdivision into corporate limits, and we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please. This is just to annex the property at this point.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zummo.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
Lemming.
Aye.
Ellenberger.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. Alderman Kellenberger.
Make a motion to approve an ordinance approving and authorizing the mayor to execute a development agreement for a residential subdivision development project, TIF number 4 with Jack Matthews Development and other actions related thereto, contingent upon the terms and the conditions stated herein.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Alderman Garrell seconds. Any discussion on this? Fully understand what this is? Roll call, please.
Ellenberger.
Aye.
Lemming.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Zummo.
Aye.
Gerald.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. Alderman Kellenberger.
Make a motion approving an ordinance approving the tax increment redevelopment plan and project for TIF redevelopment project area number 4.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Alderwoman Zumwalt, thank you. Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zumwalt.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Payne. Fleming.
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Motion passes. Alderman Kellenberger.
Make a motion to approve an ordinance adopting tax increment financing for the TIF redevelopment project area 4.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Zumwalt.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Payne.
Aye.
Fleming.
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Gerald.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. Alderman Kellenberger.
Make a motion to approve a resolution approving authorizing the mayor to execute a facade improvement grant agreement with Nehau Cycle Sales, Inc. at 718 Old Route 66 and other actions related thereto.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
Hold on, did we skip number 5?
There's one more in that last group.
You would skip number 4, I
I think
believe.
it was number 4.
Yeah.
It was number 4. I
Did we
think.
skip 4?
Skip number 4? Okay.
I was gonna come back to you, but number 4.
You wanna go get that one first? or-
Let's do that now.
Okay. Make a motion to approve an ordinance designating TIF redevelopment project area number 4.
Now, can I get a second for that?
Second.
Alderwoman Zumwalt, second. Everybody understand what that is? Okay, roll call, please.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zumwalt.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Payne.
Aye.
Fleming.
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. Now to number 6, right?
Make a motion to approve a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute a facade improvement grant agreement with Nehau Cycles, Inc. at 718 North, Old Route 66, and other actions related thereto.
Alderman Huffman seconds. This is for lighted awnings, and, it would be the southernmost building on their property. That's the only one that's in the TIF area. The others are not, so it complies. Any other questions? Their main building is in the TIF area.
This is the old Smith Group.
No, that building is not in the TIF zone.
Okay.
Their main.
It goes right through their property, the line does. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Fleming.
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Payne. Hughes.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Zumwalt.
Aye.
Gerald.
Aye.
Motion passes. Alderman Kellenberger.
I make a motion to approve a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to execute an emergency roof grant agreement with David Dart at 117 East Edward Street and other actions related thereto.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Alderwoman Huffman seconds. This one, the roof has been blowing around and been damaging vehicles, so it's pretty important that something's done on it. Roll call, please.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zumwalt.
Aye.
Huffman.
Aye.
Hughes.
Aye.
Payne. Fleming.
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Sisson.
Motion passes. I know you like damaged vehicles, Alderwoman Huffman.
I make a motion to approve an ordinance to adopt a colored lake, flag lake water level notification system.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Alderman Hughes seconds. Heather, can you explain what this is? I know it's in the,
I think that was from,
It was. Okay.
You guys are interchangeable.
Heather, would you just explain the system?
Yeah, so, as you all know, this past, lake season, Memorial Day, we had a record amount of rainfall and the water rose over the docks, approximately 11 inches. And at that time, we had to make the decision to close the lake on opening holiday weekend, which nobody was really happy about, neither was I. So, to put in place a system that visually allows people to see if the lake gets to this certain level, we will be at an idle speed only. If it gets to this level, we will be at 20 miles an hour. At this level, we will close the lake to boat traffic completely. So once that water grazes over top of the concrete docks, they can't see those docks anymore, and it's not safe to have boats on there. This would allow people to visually see a red flag, a black flag, a yellow flag, or a green flag. Green meaning the lake is open and everything's good to go, we're full pool. Yellow meaning, that we are 12 inches above our full pool, but it's a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, just to keep the wakes and the waves down. And then red would mean that we are 2 inches below the top of the dock, so it'd be idle speed only, you're allowed on the water, but no wakes, no waves. And then anything, once we reach 4 inches over the docks, now we'll close the lake, which would be a black flag. The flags that I have, are looking at are 7 feet tall, 3 feet wide, they would clearly state red, what it means for each one, so. And it's a way to take that off of us, that the general public can see. And they will be flown, or put at Marina 1 and Marina 2.
Thank you. Any questions for Heather?
This is great, Heather. You spent a lot of time on this, but didn't this originate from a citizen right after that happened, reaching out to you or something? And was it a citizen that reached out and you said that might be a good, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, we had a couple of people say that it would be nice to have some visual reference, so then that way they would be able to see, without having to drive, because we have a lot of people that come from out of state and other places, so we would be posting this on social media as well. As soon as I change the flag, the social media would be updated, just so everybody's aware, so we're not driving all the way over.
Now, you spent a lot of time, it's just, citizens, they bring up things that's good, and we listen and
Absolutely.
go forward. I just wanted to mention that, so.
Yep.
I have a question. Do you have an estimate for a cost for the flags?
Yes, it'd be less than $500 for all the flags. And I plan to get an extra set of each flag, just because we have a tremendous amount of wind down there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Gerald,
Aye.
Zumwalt,
Aye.
Huffman,
Aye.
Hughes,
Aye.
Payne, Fleming,
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Motion passes. Alderwoman Huffman.
I make a motion to approve an ordinance setting the 2025 Lake Blue Jaeger Recreation Area fees.
Thank you.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Kellenberg. Thank you. Any discussion? It's never popular, but gotta have it. Roll call, please.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
Payne, Hughes, Huffman,
Aye.
Zumwalt, Gerald.
Aye.
Motion passes. Alderwoman Huffman.
Make a motion to approve a resolution approving the lease agreement and rules and regulations for the Lake Blue Jaeger Campground for 2025.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Alderman Gerald seconds. Any discussion or questions on this? Roll call, please.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zumwalt,
Aye.
Huffman,
Aye.
Hughes,
Aye.
Payne, Fleming,
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Motion passes. Alderwoman Huffman.
I make a motion to approve a resolution approving the lease agreement for the Lake Blue Jaeger Bicentennial Campground for 2025 and the rules and regulations.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Alderman Zumwalt, thank you. Any discussion on, this subject? Roll call, please.
Gerald.
Aye.
Zumwalt. Huffman,
Aye.
Hughes, Payne, Fleming,
Aye.
Kellenberger.
Aye.
Motion passes. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Alderman Kellenberg, thank you. Alderman Gerald, thank you. We are adjourned.
I really like,